In the annals of true crime, few names elicit as much intrigue as Shonda Nicole Johnson, a woman whose charm and allure masked a chilling capacity for manipulation and murder. Branded a Black Widow by those who studied her case, Johnson's story is one of seduction, betrayal, and cold-blooded violence. Her journey from a small-town upbringing to a spot on death row reveals the dark extremes of a life driven by greed and vengeance, a troubled start. Shonda Nicole Johnson was born in 1963 in Alabama, where she grew up in a modest, working-class environment. While her early life seemed unremarkable on the surface, it was soon clear that Johnson had a knack for deception and manipulation. From a young age, she exhibited a cunning ability to navigate relationships to her advantage. This tendency would later form the cornerstone of her criminal actions. Despite the external image of a typical Southern woman, Johnson harbored deep insecurities and a thirst for control. Her relationships, particularly with men, were often fraught with conflict and betrayal. Over time, these relationships would form the foundation of a pattern that became her lethal modus operandi: the deadly game of marriage. Shonda Johnson's path to infamy was paved with her string of marriages, an astounding 10 in total. Her relationships were not about love or companionship but about personal gain. Johnson viewed her husbands as pawns in her elaborate schemes, often marrying for financial security or other benefits while maintaining relationships with other men on the side. Her predatory approach to marriage reached its breaking point when she began to leave a trail of death in her wake. To the outside world, Johnson was the grieving widow of men who died under mysterious circumstances. To those who looked deeper, she was the orchestrator of their untimely ends. The murder of Randy McCullar. The pivotal event that unraveled Johnson's carefully constructed facade occurred in 1997. At the time, she was married to Randy McCullar, one of her many husbands. Their relationship was tumultuous, marked by jealousy and infidelity. When McCullar discovered Johnson's extramarital affairs and attempted to annul their marriage, Johnson realized she stood to lose financial support and her lifestyle. Rather than face the consequences, Johnson took matters into her own hands. On November 30, 1997, McCullar was shot to death in a parking lot in Jasper, Alabama. Authorities later determined that Johnson had enlisted the help of her boyfriend, Tim Richards, to carry out the murder. Johnson's web of deceit had finally caught up with her, but it was only the beginning of the revelations about her life. The investigation and arrest. The murder of Randy McCullar quickly drew the attention of law enforcement. While Johnson initially played the role of the devastated widow, investigators began to uncover the truth. Her tangled relationships, history of multiple marriages, and inconsistent statements raised red flags. As detectives dug deeper, they discovered a pattern. Johnson's former husbands had often died or disappeared under suspicious circumstances. This trail of death painted a grim picture of a woman who saw marriage as a means to an end, and murder as the ultimate solution to her problems. In 1998, Johnson was arrested and charged with McCullar's murder. Prosecutors argued that her motive was clear: financial desperation and a desire to maintain her lifestyle at all costs. The case against her was bolstered by the testimony of Tim Richards, who admitted to pulling the trigger but implicated Johnson as the mastermind. The trial. Shonda Nicole Johnson's trial in 1999 was a media sensation. Her story captivated the public, who struggled to reconcile her attractive, unassuming appearance with the chilling crimes she was accused of committing. The prosecution painted Johnson as a manipulative predator who used her charm to exploit and ultimately eliminate those who stood in her way. The defense attempted to portray Johnson as a victim of circumstance, arguing that Richards acted independently in killing McCullar. However, the weight of the evidence, combined with Johnson's history of suspicious marriages and deaths, proved overwhelming. In December 1999, Johnson was found guilty of capital murder. The jury deliberated for just 90 minutes before recommending the death penalty. She was formally sentenced to death by lethal injection, becoming one of the few women on Alabama's death row. A complex legacy. Shonda Nicole Johnson's case raises uncomfortable questions about the psychology of a killer and the societal pressures that can drive someone to commit heinous acts. While her crimes were undoubtedly rooted in greed and self-preservation, they also reflected a deeper sense of insecurity and a desire for control. Her ability to manipulate those around her underscores the dangerous power of charisma when wielded by someone with malicious intent. In prison, Johnson has maintained her innocence, claiming she was wrongly convicted. However, her appeals have been unsuccessful, and she remains on death row, awaiting execution. The aftermath. The story of Shonda Nicole Johnson has left an indelible mark on true crime enthusiasts and those who followed her case. Her actions devastated the families of her victims and left a trail of pain and unanswered questions. For law enforcement, her case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of thoroughly investigating patterns of domestic violence and suspicious deaths. Johnson's case has also sparked debates about the death penalty, particularly as it pertains to women. As one of the few women on death row in the United States, her story has drawn attention to the ways in which gender can influence public perception of criminal behavior. A final warning. Shonda Nicole Johnson's life and crimes offer a cautionary tale about the dark side of human relationships. Her ability to mask her intentions and manipulate those around her speaks to the dangers of unchecked greed and the lengths to which some will go to maintain power and control. As we look back on her story, it's important to remember the victims, those who trusted Johnson and paid the ultimate price for her deception. Their lives, cut short by her schemes, are a sobering reminder of the fragility of trust and the devastating consequences of betrayal. Shonda Nicole Johnson may one day meet her fate on Alabama's death row, but the impact of her actions will endure for years to come. Her story serves as a chilling example of how a seemingly ordinary life can hide extraordinary darkness. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy true crime stories and chilling unsolved mysteries, be sure to like this video, leave a comment, and hit the subscribe button for more spine-tingling content.